This is our third in our series. This event is called Present Yourself. It's the third in our interview etiquette series. This program is designed to help you guys to overcome your fear of public speaking, to be able to present yourself both in appearance and also vocally. We have Kathy Hansen here, who's the director of the International School of Protocol, and Clyde Milton, who's the Lieutenant Governor for Marketing for District 18 of for the Toastmasters, which is an international public speaking organization. So I will go ahead and turn over to Kathy, and then give Clyde a little bit of time as well to talk about what we'll be doing tonight.
And I see familiar faces and some new faces too. Again, as part of the series on interviewing, we're looking now at that public speaking portion of it. And my area of expertise, director of the International School of Protocol, but I was a public speaking coach. I was a public speaking coach for the University of Alaska, Anchorage, for lots of years. When I went up to Anchorage, Alaska, I was up there in the Domestic Peace Corps, and then I took a job at the university and formed the first speech and debate team that the University of Alaska Sea Wolves had and put Alaska on the map. Now, we were the only team in Alaska, so we had to travel to the lower 48 is what the rest of the world is called, or a good part of the United States is called, is the lower 48. And the other is what? Which one is not part of that 48 other than Alaska?
Hawaii.
Hawaii, that's right. So we didn't travel to Hawaii. I don't know that they had a team, but we traveled all over the United States and were national champions in speech and debate, public speaking and debate for a number of years. And I have the privilege of coaching the first female debate champion team. So I taught speech. I was even a competitor in public speaking myself. I thought I'd go into something else. And when I was in college, my Speech 101 or whatever it was, 111 or what it was called, teacher said, "Would you like to be on the team?" And I thought, I'm so nervous when I give speeches, no. And she said, "No, I think it will be a good time." Well, then it took me all over the country. That's what I was thinking. It would be an opportunity to get to see lots of places. And what it really was an opportunity as well to develop research skills and thinking skills and, of course, competitive public speaking skills. So, as director of the International School of Protocol, I teach public speaking, I teach communication skills, social skills, and dining skills. And I'll do a little plug for that, because that will be the first in our series, because we expect to have through this group a dining event coming up. But no decisions have been made yet. But, you know, when I say what I do, when people ask me sort of what profession I'm in or those kinds of questions, you don't want to say you're International School of Protocol or that you teach manners, because everyone becomes uncomfortable. And particularly if you're at a dinner party and the question's asked, and I never have to say, well, I teach table manners. So today we get to look at one of my greatest loves, and that's public speaking. And part of the examination of public speaking will also look at that situation that you're in, that looks at how the audience views you in terms of credibility, and then what you are doing yourself as a speaker. But before we get into those things, and you have an opportunity to give presentations today in a really informal way. But I'd love to hear from our Lieutenant Governor for all of the things that David remembers. Who will talk a little bit about himself and how he came to public speaking.
Evening. You guys look a little nervous, so let's take a deep breath. Relax. How many of you in here have heard of Toastmasters? Besides my Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a non-profit organization, one of the largest in the world, that helps people with public speaking and leadership skills. Something I'm sure you're going to need in whatever endeavor of life you're going to take on. I'm Lieutenant Governor of Marketing for what they call District 18. Sounds pretty impressive, doesn't it? No. It covers 5 states. So our Toastmasters, that I'm Lieutenant Governor of Marketing, covers 5 states: Delaware, Maryland, parts of West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. We have over 107 and plus growing clubs in our district, well over 4,000 members. And if I can I have one of the Toastmasters in the room raise their hand? These people, I want to point something out. Volunteers. Everyone. None of us gets paid. Even from an international president, all the way down, up to the members themselves. We're all volunteers. We're in 116 countries. We have over 13,500 clubs around the world that consist of over 280,000 members. We've been around since 1924, when it all started. I found Toastmasters 7 years ago. I'm a software engineer. Much like this group here, I am an introvert. How many in here are introverts? How many engineers do we have in the room? My fellow introverts. I know you are. What I noticed over the years that I've been in Toastmasters is I've gained confidence. And I'm going to share a secret with you right now. How many have heard that public speaking is feared more than death? No one's heard? Have anybody heard that? Okay. It's a lie. No one has ever died from public speaking. That myth started in 1977 in a book called The Book of Lists, where it was no scientific background at all, where the authors had 3,000 people they researched and asked them, and they could write down anything they wanted. Here's what was on that list: fear of heights, fear of water, on, and finally public speaking. Now let's think about that. Why would you be afraid of heights? And you could fall, and what could happen to you? That's one for death. Swimming or water?
You can drown.
There's another one. If you actually went through that list, death is way ahead of public speaking. And you can do this. If an introvert like myself can get up and talk, and I've actually had the privilege of being in front of several hundred people at one time. I still get nervous. I will share that with you. But I've learned to do it and to practice it. We have in the room also, Mary, I'm going to pick on you a little bit here, the largest public speaking contest, speech contest, is in Toastmasters. And it's starting again. Well, we have in here semi-finalists, got down to international, Marion, who came down here. We look forward to helping anyone in this room. We have material here in Toastmasters, on Toastmasters itself. What you're going to learn tonight is going to be extremely helpful in whatever career, whatever you decide to do. And Toastmasters will just be one of those tools you have. So we're going to practice with you tonight. We're going to have a little fun. Thank you for coming out, and I will turn it back over to Kathy so she can tell you all the neat little secrets of all this thing. So thank you, Kathy.
All right, thank you, Clyde. So first thing is, and you have a handout there, you can look at it. I know this group really likes handouts. It's sort of a version of my notes. So forgive any typos. It's just, as I was putting this together, I put it together for you to read, because again, I know this group likes to have lots of written materials as well. So the first thing we look at when we're looking and considering public speaking, we want to look at the occasion. What is the occasion? And when we're looking at the occasion, we look at it in a few ways. One of the things we want to consider is who is our audience, and then the other thing is what perception does the audience have toward us? Because a speaker's credibility, which is what the audience perceives of you, and when people talk about someone having credibility, which is measured on lots of different dimensions, including composure and character and extroversion and sociability and expertise. That's what we're looking at, that credibility. But some of it just comes from how you look. So that's what I want to talk about at first. And it's a question that I've gotten from lots of you over the other sessions that I've been here, and I've touched on it some too. And so I'm going into it deeper, and that's the issue of dress. And so professional dress. And it's difficult. One of the programs that the International School of Protocol is called upon to do a whole lot deals with dress, because people are confused about it. They're very confused about what is business casual, what is business professional, and what should I wear in the office, and particularly if people are from other places in the world, or either other places in the United States, that issues of dress do vary significantly. So what I'll be looking at is dress within the United States, and I will tell you the sock color is different with regard to protocols in the United States versus the UK. All right, so I'm going to tell you what it is in the United States. And what I'm trying to do is break it down for women and men. And the first thing to talk about, though, are general issues of dress, just to clarify the confusion that we may have. So, business professional is what we want to look at, and that's what you would wear. That's the dress that you would have if you were called upon to give a public presentation. You want to look at the dressed in a business professional way. And in general, issues of dress deal with fabric and things like what things go with other things. In the United States and in many other places, you don't want to mix patterns. So stripes and plaids you wouldn't wear together, or you wouldn't wear a floral top and you wouldn't wear striped pants with that. That wouldn't be, you would wear, so if you have something that's striped, you would wear plain. And for some of you that's very obvious, and I know for others of you it is not. So again, that would be something here in the United States that you wouldn't want to do. And with regard to professional fabrics too, our professional fabrics are really going to stay in the range of, in a business setting, in the range of wools. So you can have summer weight wools, you can have a wool blend these days. Things really, synthetics have changed so much that they seem like that. You could have a wool and silk blend. And the reason why is that those are going to hold their shape. They're going to just do really well as you go through the day. And you're not going to want a fabric that is a shiny fabric that's going to look like a satin fabric either. And as I look at the dress for men and I look at the dress for women, we'll look at some other issues too with regard to professional dress. So you see here in the description sort of just in general, we're going to look at dress, and we're going to look again at how much dress then is going to impact that credibility. And credibility is what the audience gives you. So you have a perception as an audience of a speaker based on what you can see. Before the speaker even opens his or her mouth, you have a perception. And that's going to be based on just that very issue of dress. In general, in the United States, and this varies all over the world, our darker colors are going to be taken more seriously. So for men, you're going to want your classic business professional suit is going to be in navy, it's going to be in gray, maybe a dark gray. Black can sometimes be thought to be more somber. And for women, you may want to also be keeping to those darker colors as well. And again, because there's a perception that they have, and that's a seriousness. It's not an approachable color, but it's more serious. And again, we'll break this down a little bit more. Before I go on, though, are there questions about just general issues of dress? Also, with regard to those first impressions, too, and this is something that varies as well, is as you're meeting people and they're coming into the room, you want to make sure that you wear your name badge on which side? On the right side, because some people know that's exactly right. When you shake hands, which you do with the right hand. And just again, a quick review is the handshake, and tell me everything you know about the handshake. And that's so varies. Even the Western handshake is going to vary from culture to culture. In the United States, in Austria, in Germany, Russia is going to have the same one. Some other Western countries, the handshake's going to be very firm. It's going to squeeze. You're not going to have that in other places. So it's a firm handshake. and the position of the hand for men or for women is going to be the same. And so if I open my hand and I see in between my index finger and my thumb, I have this web, and so you want the web of your hand to touch the web of the other person's hand. So it's a deep handshake. It's not grabbing the fingers, but you're going to, and you look the person in the eye, you maintain eye contact, you pump up and down a couple of times, you say your name very clearly, because a lot of you are from places all over the world. Say your name very slowly, too, so that people can clearly understand it. I mean, everyone needs to. But if people are, if you find you're a person, and you don't need to raise your hand, you can just reflect on it. But if you find you're a person where people say, "Can you tell me your name again?" or "Excuse me, could you say that again?" That means that people are really not hearing it a lot, and they're going to maybe not get it quite right. But if they get it close enough, and you're okay with that. But make sure you slow that down a little bit. That you state your name a little bit more clearly. Yes.
My full name is Korean name, but the way all people call me is Hia. It's much easier to remember. All my colleagues and friends call me Hia.
That's fine. That's
fine. Should I say my name, everybody call me, or
yes.
full name?
That's what I would do. Either one. You could either just say Hia, or you could say your whole name when meeting somebody, but everyone calls me Hia. That would be fine. Because your name's important to you. You like your name. And there are a number of people who completely change their name, too, so that it's easier in whatever culture or country or place they're in, so that people can more easily see it. And then the other thing, so you look the person in the eye, you hold the hand, and then you pump up and down a couple of times. And I know a lot of people wonder, how long do I hold the hand? There's not a real good answer to that. Sometimes if the person's still holding, and then you sort of, okay, we've stopped talking a little bit here, we can relax with it a little bit too. But it's going to be firm, and it's going to be a lot firmer than a number of you are used to too. And then there's another piece of it as well, with regard to that first impression. You're reading people as they're coming in, and that is with a handshake. We always, and I said this in some other seminars, so some of you are going to know exactly what do you do. If I'm coming up to you, what do you need to do? He's not going to do it, that's why I'm not. Stand up, that's right, stand up. Okay. So you know it's coming, right? Okay? And so just be ready to stand up. And so, I've seen it on a lot of occasions where people are seated somewhere and they don't know or they forget. So make sure, because that's going to be something that puts the person on the same level as you are. So just very quickly right now, and help the person out who's next to you. Just go ahead and just introduce yourself to people around you, okay? And if the person's not giving you this handshake I described, just let the person know. No, you know what? Let me go. Okay, a little firmer. Okay, go ahead. Shake. Stand
For example, you don't want to do this. You kind of want to
Do you have an extra name tag? Sure.
And you will have more opportunities to mingle too. Like twice and reading, public speaking. It was bad enough when I went to the profession of protocol and I had talk about table manners and no one took my breath. And it wasn't much better before that when I said that I taught public speaking, or I was a public speaking coach. Everyone got real quiet. I'm very nice. So, you know, and again, I'm a warm person, and I'm not a public speaker who comes to naturally either. But what I like is I like people, and I like to share what I know because I'm a teacher. And so what I want is I want the audience to get the information. And if I consider at all times the audience rather than me, then I find that that's what really makes a good speaker. It's not that the person is the most masterful speaker, but that the person really, I really want you to understand, I really want you to know about public speaking. I really want you to know about the handshake. So my concern is to you. And we'll look at the details, some of the highlights about public speaking as well. But back to the issue of those issues of dress, some things that come up again and again, or what accessories should I have if I'm a man or a woman? You don't want to have a lot of jewelry that's conspicuous. You don't want to be having facial hardware as well, or something that's going to be distracting to the audience. You want to be considering your message. So if you're a person who normally is more flamboyant in their dress for that public speaking occasion, you don't want them to be so distracted by that. Unless you're a rock star, there are times when, if you are known to be that person, then that's okay. Or if you have built your reputation around being the person in the wild bow tie that twirls, then that's okay. Just to remind you, what's the history of the handshake? Why did people ever begin shaking
So that they
hands?
knew you didn't have a gun on you.
That's right. It went before guns even, so it was a weapon, right? So to make sure that you didn't have a knife on you, so it goes even farther back in history. So the weapon hand was the right hand, and it showed that you were unarmed, and the pumping up and down was, it's all related to the weapon still. Hiding, yes, that it was, exactly, that it wasn't hidden up your sleeve, that you didn't have another weapon. And it was crazy. It was a crazy time with weapon. And it was the same thing that was happening, that people were beginning to go to the table together, and they were shaking hands, going to the table together, and they needed to keep their hands above the table because they might have had a weapon in their boot and kill somebody under the table, and poisoning people that's where our toasts come from, some of the history of that, which I'll talk about in a later session too. But again, so our handshake that greeting has this very violent origin. The other thing that we're going to always want to consider, in addition to that, just in general, before I talk about for men and for women, is just to make sure that your clothing is in good shape, that it's well fitted, that it's clean, that your shoes are polished. I brought with me just this quick shoe polish that comes in many colors. I have black shoes on, and right now I can shine my shoes, just a real quick shine. So it's a sponge, and it's got the polish inside that sponge. So I keep that at my desk, and I can just go, and then my shoes are polished before I have an event. So this is $1.99 or something like that, or at the drugstore. So that's something that's not going to happen. Yes?
I don't know if you're going to get there. You have some notes here about business casual versus business professional.
That's going to be, yeah, so I'm in the first paragraph.
Oh, you're still, okay.
Well, the second.
Okay.
I'm just the overall, everybody, before I get to that, and then before I get to thank you, Jeff.
I have two questions.
Yes.
First job interview, the first meeting.
Yes.
I heard someone told me I have to wear navy or black, not gray. Is it true?
You're probably good at it. Yes and no. Gray's probably fine too. Navy is sort of a real standard, and black for women these days is a very standard color. If people are saying that, then there must be some people who are thinking it. And so if people who are making hiring decisions are thinking it as well, then be safe and wear navy or black.
I'm talking about the gray color.
Right.
It's still okay to wear gray.
Well, if someone's told you not to, that means there's some people thinking not to. I think it's okay.
Okay.
But there are some people who might prefer navy or black. And they may be people who are in positions of authority that are making hiring decisions. So you're probably safer in navy or black.
Another quick question. So as a woman, I always am concerned about this handbag.
I will get to that. Let me write that down and I'll get to that. And then just in general, grooming, which we see in that first big paragraph anyway. The issues of grooming is just to make sure that your teeth are brushed, that you don't eat garlic. Do not eat garlic. Before I came, I had the option I love garlic. I had option for garlic. And I said, no, I will be talking to lots of people. And I should not, unless everyone else is having garlic. You don't want to be the one who's had that raw onion or that garlic. So your teeth are clean, your breath is good, those things that I have listed there. Now let's get into that issue of business professional for men. Business professional for men is your two-piece matched suit. That's it. Everything else falls into the category of business casual. And I've outlined for you some of the details of what goes into business professional, all the way down to where your sleeve falls and how far down the shirt below should go. So we have, and I put it in inches. So translate it if you need to. I was going to put it in metric as well, but I thought, well, I'm just going to leave it in inches. So you want your suit to be well fitted. Your most common is going to be your single-breasted, not your double-breasted suit. Double breast means what? That you have two sets of buttons going down. And I'm talking about men right now. It gets all wild for women. So for men, it's going to be your single-breasted suit. And I'm going to let Clyde talk about the belt for a second.
Yeah.
Because he really knows belts.
Oh,
Okay.
I have one on.
So where the belt falls and where your tie falls in relationship to the belt. And Clyde was in the Marines.
Kathy actually sent me the letter you have, and I read it, and I go, oh, that's all Marine Corps training right there. They beat the stuff. They encouraged us. It's quite simple. The tie doesn't look good up here, doesn't look good down here. The tip should cut almost the middle of your belt. Belt buckle, that's it. And you'll get good at some point. I never get it the first time. After all these years, I've yet to get, I go, do it. But it makes a big difference, because it is that. And the belt buckle, this one, I'm actually thinking losing weight, so mine's got a little bit longer here. The buckle, you should be around the middle button. If your belt's too large or too small, get one that fits properly. You should be, your waist size was about 2-3 inches. So you have it. And you should have a small, you see, it just, it matches outside. That's it. I have the other ones for the gig line also, where, ladies, don't be a shirt, buckle, fly. It lines up.
Okay? And that's real military training too. Anyone that I do the program to, and they've been in the service, they talk.
And I will give you a secret, man. How do you keep those shirt tails in nice and neat? How do you have, because when you sit down and you have this happen, looks good. Now, how did he do that? We call them shirt stays. My wife calls them garters. I actually have that you could buy in any military school or a military shop that you can find them. They're actually suspenders that latch on to the tail of your shirt and the top of your socks.
Huh.
Two great things. Keeps your shirts down, keep your socks up. And after 13 years in the Marine Corps, that's what they taught me. And I am passing it on to you without the issue of having to go through training and having those friendly DIs tell you what you really are not. And I'll play it to you. That's really it. And it is one of my pet peeves. It drives me nuts when I see ties up to here or at the back. I can show you that part of it. Your tie is properly fit, which I hope I have. Where this is flapping out. You have the loop men, use it. Keep it in there. So it's not like going this way or that way. But I've seen so many people during interviews, and people say, you shouldn't judge it by, well, we're going to, because how you look is telling us right away what type of personality. You can be the best person in the world, but you may never get past that first interview unless you look sharp. And this is one of two suits I own. Like I said, software engineer, I'm normally in jeans and Tommy Bahama at work. But when I go out to meet, I have to put the suit on, and I will do casual every now and then. When I'm dealing with the district, it's always business. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I learned something I did not know about the garter belt that goes down.
Shirt stays.
It's only the shirt stays. There was a question.
Oh, yeah, I'm curious, so if a company like openly advertises that you should wear business casual to their interviews, but you're more comfortable wearing business professional, what should you wear?
So what they actually say?
They say ditch your tie for the interview.
Then I would just ditch the tie. I would go one step down. And we'll look at that in a minute. I'd go one step down from business professional, if they're saying that.
Okay.
And as Clyde was saying, it's paying attention to detail. Many places that are business casual or business very, very relaxed, still for the interview have the expectation that you're business professional when you take it elsewhere.
Hawaii's all, and I was there. I got stationed there. It's aloha shirts and slacks and semi-dress shoes. That's usually how their business runs at most levels. But there are times you go into certain ones. You have to find out who you're interviewing with and what their culture is.
And when we look at dining too, and we'll talk about that business interview or your lunch too, or your dinner, that you think, does your table manners matter? I've heard of people who've lost their job over their table manners. And really highly skilled people who lost their job over table manners.
Just a quick question, like, since he mentioned about tie, and there's a clip for the tie, and do you recommend use that or like
oh, a tie, oh, yeah, tie, yeah, that's fine.
And how to use it is like properly?
Okay. Usually, I put it right in the middle of your middle button right there. So that if you have a clasp or the tie tack, you're gonna be limited by where that button's at. Right. So it's usually in the middle, and usually people have it where it just shows just a hint right here. A bar is just about the same location.
I'd like to get your opinion on wearing a pocket square.
That's up to you. A pocket square, and I'll let you interject with that too, tends to be a little bit more formal. If you can pull it off well, in other words, if you do it all the time now, then that's part of who you are. That's fine. And so that's the pocket square that you put in there. And if you have anything to add.
I've seldom used them.
But there are some people who do it, and because they do, that's who they are.
I think it was prom.
That may have been.
That was my yellow tuxedo. Yeah.
When are cufflinks appropriate and when are they necessary?
If you know, some people are cufflink people, that they, all their shirts would be something that would have cufflinks, just as long as it's not really ostentatious, if they're not something that has some kind of, Ravens.
Don't bang them on the desk.
Right. That's right as well. Other questions, and then we'll spell some of this out. Are you fine with me continuing to talk about that? Am I already talking about what you know already?
Well, I can't picture the shirt scarf. Could you draw or show us?
So, you show, no.
I'll show the bottom. I'm going to draw proud.
She's a plant. She's a total plant.
That's it.
Oh,
They have the same class as the drawings, I believe.
We get to do that.
Come on now, I can't hold that cap. Come on. time for the military.
I would think so,
I think-
well, online, I'm sure you can.
I'm sure you can fly.
I know someone who just went to a white glove event, that she had to wear the white gloves at a function in Baltimore, and she said a lot of trouble, and someone had ended up getting them from France. So, anyway, but again, we can get everything online. So just looking at your dress for business, so we know what it's the two-piece matching suit. I'm looking at the second very large paragraph, and then everything that I have numbered, we're moving from more professional to less professional. So less professional, your sport coat, that's your jacket, your tie and pants, and you see that I went down to 6 levels. So if it's a business casual environment, those are the things that are going to be included. I had talked about that wool fabric, and then just to reiterate colors of shoes, because I see this, if people aren't understanding this. And so here we see with your black or gray suit for men, you're going to wear black shoes, and you're going to wear the black or Potovan round shoes. I mean, with the navy suit, it's the black or your brown shoes with the navy suit. I thought I had written it wrong. Brown shoes with brown or khaki. Socks match your pants, and they're trouser length, so they're not short. So that's so your legs never show. Belt and your shoes should match, and then there are details about the belt. And then we see that when you're buckling your belt, it's about in the middle, so you're going to have 5 holes, and you're going to be on the 3rd hole there. And then the fit of the clothes, again, you want to make sure that, when you go to wherever it is that you get your suit, Joe Banks is around, I think they have shoes, you buy a suit, it's a reasonable price, and then if you don't get the job, you don't have to pay for the suit. Joe Banks was offering that, Joseph Banks, okay? And they take very good care of you there as well. So again, we're ending the sleeve right here, and then we come down a half an inch more, and as I had mentioned before, a half inch above the collar there. The break, you know what the break is in your pants? I'll tell you. So your break is how it folds in the front of your pants, and typically you're going to have one break, one fold, and then I think we can demonstrate that. What else is it going to do?
I didn't know I was getting paid to be a model.
And then at the back we see, so here's where the shoe ends, and here's where the sole begins. Okay, so the shoes, you have the shoe, that's the leather, and then you have the sole, and then that's where the back of the pant is going to fall naturally.
I need to know more secret about shoes.
Secret about shoes.
Secret about shoes. How many, I've always noticed that where the leather and the soles come together, how dirty that gets, and how hard it is to clean? Toothbrush. Either your roommates, but just simply dip it, the tip in the shoe polish, and clears it right up, because that's a detail people notice. And that's also Marine Corps suggesting I do
that. The medium break is good. The medium is the one fold, and taller people might have 2 folds. Shorter people might not have a fold in there too. And as long as it's between the top of the shoe and that sole, and whatever works, what looks good to you, and whoever's helping you with that, those are all going to be fine. Ties are going to be darker than your shirt. You want your tie to be darker than your shirt, and the background color of the tie should not be the same as the suit. The foreground is going to maybe pull the color in it. So if you had a navy suit, maybe there would be, if you have a red tie, and there would be some navy in there and little specks of some sort or stripes or whatever. A silk tie is going to be nice for you. Questions about men's dress? Yes?
Could you tell me about peacoats and gloves, maybe?
That's nice. They're nice. I think a peacoat's lovely. And you saw the fit of the pants. It used to be, suits used to be, kind of at the bottom of, now it's just that it covers your rear end too. And so your peacoat, you're probably going to want to have it a little bit long.
Yeah.
You don't want your jacket to ever come out below. I see that. But you don't want your jacket to be your suit jacket to be above your coat jacket. You wouldn't want to wear an athletic jacket with a nice suit. So your pea coat would be fine, or it can be longer. You have a long pea coat too that's longer than a pea. And then leather gloves, black leather gloves.
Oh. Thank you.
You want your outerwear to be nice as well. And even if you might not be taking that into the interview or the presentation, that's still part of that image. For women, still pay attention to the protocol for men. And again, I wore kind of a very conservative outfit because I knew I would be talking about this today. So, really simple with the white and the black too, just to show really a neutral outfit. And I have some things that are less neutral than that too. I did also talk about buttons for men when to leave them unbuttoned, which ones to leave unbuttoned. For women, you're always going to keep your buttons buttoned.
I was curious about ties. So I have a striped tie that includes, well, it's sort of different shades of blue, and then it also has a black stripe. And I've worn that with my black suit. Is that?
Sounds like it might be good.
Oh, okay, okay. Or like.
Because you've got that black in there, so it's going to pull that out.
Oh, okay, okay.
If it didn't have any black in it, then some people might frown upon it.
Oh, okay.
But as long as you've got that black in it.
Okay.
So for women, it's either a pantsuit or it is a skirted suit. That's new for women. It used to be that women were expected to have a skirted suit. Your skirt's going to end up knee length. The fit is a little bit different. You see, this is a shorter jacket. You might have that for women. You might have a longer jacket. So a men's suit is much more standard. And then we see the business casual, where on the second page, where we move what's moving down from business casual for women, the most professional, the least professional. Our more serious colors are darker. Our shoes are different than for men. The shoes for women match the hem of your pants or your skirt. Pantyhose is typically worn with skirts. I should say skirts, not shirts. Really look bad. So 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences down where it says, over to the right, where it says wear pantyhose with shirts, please wear pantyhose with skirts. You're going to wear a trouser leg sock with your pants, shoes or closed toe, not open back. Jewelry to a minimum, small earrings with little earrings that would demonstrate not dangling. These are pretty simple, no bigger than a dime. Nails, don't want them to be conspicuous so people are looking at your nails. Generally long hair you would pull back. And no cologne for men or women. So, don't wear cologne. A heel, no, you can wear flats. No, flats are fine. So it used to be that women really were expected to wear it at home, but fortunately flats have come in fashion, so flats are fine. Yay.
Some questions about like long hair to pull back, like I know this is definitely wrong, but like how about her that the girl with the darker dread, like how much like partially pull back or like you feel pull back like a low ponytail?
You know, that is changing so much these days, where I'm seeing more and more professional women with longer hair. So whereas the standard is once it was below your shoulder that you would need to pull it back, sort of ask yourself, do I feel professional? Do I feel professional with my hair this length and down? And pulling it back, and then how far back? That's so hard to answer. I just worked with a woman who was interviewing for vet schools, and she decided at the last minute, it was totally She was interviewed in the University of Pennsylvania, PennVet, and it's very business professional as part of the interview. It's a really grueling, horrible interview process. And at the last minute, she said she decided to wear a hair down, and she got in. And so, ask yourself how you feel. So most professional is to pull your hair back and up, and kind of just back in one way or another, if it's below your shoulders. But then again, just sort of say, how do I feel with it this way? How do I think it's professional? I wish I could give you a better answer. But so much changes with regard to what is standard, and you have to think women have not been in the business professional world for as many years as men. And the standards have really changed. As women in the 80s were really coming forward, their suits kind of looked like men's suits, kind of a version, and in the 80s there were ties that women wore, they were called floppies, and you tie it over and it looked like a little short man's tie, and you do all kinds of things with that. And then things got a little bit more lenient for women, but women couldn't wear pants, and then more recently, women have been able to wear pants. Look at your top women leaders and see how they're dressed. See what their hair looks like, and that's going to answer some of those questions for you as well. And then there's our First Lady, Michelle Obama, who really, she's very fashion forward, and she sort of pushes the envelope for fashion as well. That's it. Wish I had a better answer. So we have the speaking occasion, whatever that occasion you may have, it could be the job interview, etc. We're going to ask ourselves things about the audience. Who are these people, and what do I want them to know? What do they expect to know from me? What is their attitude toward me? What is their attitude toward the topic? What is the situation I'm in? Am I going to be able to give a PowerPoint presentation? Am I going to have a microphone? This is all the situational and this audience analysis. They're really important considerations. You need to give a particular presentation to a particular audience. That same presentation is going to vary from audience to audience. You're not going to have the same presentation. Might be the same topic, same general topic, but the way in which you deliver it and what you're including in that is going to change, depending on that audience. Yes.
Can I sneak in really quick?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to have about 5 or 10 more minutes talking about dress, so get all your questions out. Then we're going to go on about a 5-minute break. After that break, we're going to break up into about 6 different groups and go over the presentation, various points on actual presentation.
We're actually finished with dress, if you don't mind.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, sure,
and
absolutely.
We can have questions afterwards, and we're talking now about the speeches.
Okay, great.
Moving into groups. Am I messing you up?
Yeah, well, no, I'm just in about 5 minutes we'll break and just go on, get some water, just kind of stretch your legs, and then we'll break up into the.
That's exactly what I'm looking at. Great, thank you. He thought I was getting off topic. He's really good at monitoring. So we've got the audience to consider, and then it's the actual speech itself. So what I included are highlights from presentation skills over time that I thought are the easiest to consider. So what you have remaining on these pages are tips for delivery. I talk a little bit about style, and then what we do is I have questions for you and one actual example of a speech so that you're going to be giving speeches. And we have our lovely Toastmasters as well, who will be helping with evaluation, and as well your peers. You're going to be giving speeches to your peers. So you're going to get a chance to practice speeches and see if there's anything that you're doing really well, or if there's anything where you've had no idea, but you have this amazing twitch that you do when you give a presentation. And people are going to give you some very kind and gentle feedback. And it will be fun.
What?
So, one of the things that's most important with regard to giving a speech, and I said think of your audience, and one of the things that you're going to want to do is actually connect with your audience. One of your ways to connect with your audience is through eye contact. So have actual eye contact with audience members. If it's a large group, you'll look at a group of people. If it's a smaller group, you'll be able to look individuals in the eyes. Okay? So important, really important. Good speakers have eye contact. Volume. You need your volume to be loud enough. And you also want to have variations with regard to the voice, and pitch, which means that sometimes you go up, if you go down. If you don't have variations in the pitch, you are monotone. So you're going to just have your voice rise and fall as you're more excited about things or as you're moving through things in different ways. And you're also going to have variations in rate, and that's the speed. So you don't want to speak really quickly all the time because no one will ever hear you. And unless you're a debater, that's what debaters are much faster. Anyone in here debate when they were in high school or college? Did you do that? That kind of really fast debate, policy debate, which was just crazy. So again, you're going to speak more slowly, more quickly. You're going to find the rate that's your rate too, but within there, change that rate because it makes it interesting too. Lots of research done on speakers, and a good delivery is able to persuade, same speech, exact same words, a good delivery is able to be more persuasive versus having poor delivery. Same exact. So everyone was persuaded with the good delivery, no one was persuaded with the same content. Fluency is very important, and that's how clearly your speech is, that you're not umming and youing and okay and and if you feel like that's going to come, it's all right to have a pause, enunciate your words, speak slowly enough for audience members to hear you, to understand you, as I mentioned before. Your body action. You want your basic speaker stance is you're going to stand comfortably erect. So your legs come down from the shoulders. That's your posture's back. And when speakers would hold note cards, it looked like this. So it's something along these lines. If you're going to gesture in this area. It's fine to use your hands to give a speech. It might help make a point. What you don't want to do is look really frantic with your hands, which I may do. But I didn't when I was a competitive speaker, that's for sure. Facial expressions, have them, because that lets the audience know how you're feeling, if they should laugh, if they should smile. The other thing with regard to sort of movement and standing is it's interesting to move when you're giving a presentation. It's nice not to have a lectern in front of you because that's a barrier between you and the audience. And that's really just something to hold your notes. And if you want to take some steps, go ahead and step at transition as you're moving from point to point. That kind of leads the audience to it too. So here's the next area that you're going to be talking about. And you don't want to pace back and forth. So stand still at the beginning of the presentation and then begin. And stand still at the end too. The audience applaud and then move. Stage fright, as was mentioned too, and everyone should have it. If you don't have stage fright, you're dead. You should, it's good. That's enthusiasm, that's adrenaline, that's good. That's the same thing that makes you a dynamic speaker, it's the same thing that makes you nervous. And so just translate it in your head and say, I'm really excited about giving this speech. That's going to make you extroverted, that's going to make you a dynamic speaker. Some things that help in general. When I was speaking a lot, when I had more nervousness than I have now, I've been speaking for so long that eventually the nervousness kind of goes away a little bit. But I'm doing it for very, very more than 30 years. What I would do when I was speaking competitively, or when I was having to give presentations, and again, I had the nervousness that was like, it was wild nervousness. It was like, come back here, is I would take big breaths. And this is something that's advocated, I didn't make this up. Take a big breath right through here, into your belly. Hold it, slowly exhale. Take another one. It really, really helps that crazy nervousness. Or you can clench and I would do both of these things. I'd be sitting on the stage, I'd be the fifth speaker in a series of however many it was, sitting there, and I'd be doing this breathing thing. And then I'd also be clenching everything, just toes all the way up, no one could tell. Tightening it, holding it, and then letting it go. And again, both of those are just going to give you some control of that loudness. Remember, the audience is not going to know that you're nervous. They're not going to notice your nervousness unless you draw attention to it. So as long as you don't say anything, don't worry if you're sweating bullets, don't worry if your hand is shaking. No one will know. That's excitement. That's adrenaline. They really won't. And it's not a problem. I have seen so many speakers, thousands and thousands. I coached, I judged speakers, thousands upon thousands and thousands. And some of them were shaking and sweating, and some of them were. All right, you will, in a few minutes, you will get some instruction after you take a little break. And we're going to have people in groups of about 5, and you see a whole bunch of speech topics. And you get to pick one or more than one, and what you're going to do is you're going to prepare for one or more than one of these topics, but one at a time, for about a minute. So you just get to pick one of your topics and prepare, and then you're going to give it in your group. And some of you will have the opportunity to give that to a Toastmaster who's going to be in the group. And then what I'd like the group members to do is just briefly give you some feedback after your presentation. So we'll have, and then after you do that, then you get to move to another group. You can stay with some of the same people, you can move to other people, and just give yourself as many opportunities as you can. And these are all topics that you can talk about. The one that I thought was sort of interesting to just know how to do is I gave you the formula for an introductory speech. And an introductory speech is something that you're going to need to do in your life. An introductory speech is when you're introducing a main speaker. So you are the introductory speaker, and you give a little biographical information and other things about the person who is the main speaker. So if you'd like to pick someone that you don't know in your group and ask them some questions and give an introductory speech, then there's that option to do that. And you also now have that formula for that. So here are many, many topics. Some are about your research. Some are just some fun topics too that you can, about if you were having a dinner party, who would you invite, those kinds of things. Did you have the common essay when you applied to colleges? Did most of you have a common essay, or did you have some of those wrong questions? Yeah, I took one of these that was similar to the University of Chicago question. They were known for their crazy questions. So I'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and get into questions.